Welcome to another episode of Ark Stories Pathfinder. Today we have with us someone who's amazing, a very close friend of mine, and a super doctor. Well, I would say doctor, super doctor. Her name is Dr. Roma. I will have her introduce herself. Dr. Roma, all yours.
Hello, my name is Dr. Roma and I'm a dermatologist and I work at Oliva Skin Clinics in Anna Nagar currently. I'm based out of Chennai.
All right. So the reason why I wanted to bring Dr. Roma is, we've been having a lot of conversations, and lately, our last dinner conversation was about confidence and, women and just generally how people carry themselves. And I thought to myself, India has such a big market for aesthetics, and we're, I think, as Indians, sometimes skin obsessed, color obsessed, weight obsessed. And we're talking about this, and I wanted to ask you, right? Like, you are a successful doctor. You've come through your path as a woman, and how did you cope? How did you deal with societal kind of brands, or this is the way you should look and be and all of that?
Well, it was honestly very difficult growing up, obviously. And I feel like especially in the age when we were growing up, right, a lot of like exposure towards these things started coming through, where people wanted to go out there and look good, and girls had to look a particular way, and if you were fair, you're considered pretty, and if you're thin, you're considered pretty. And sometimes for girls it's just all about your external appearance and how you carry yourself. People don't necessarily tell you other things. I mean, like, someone always wants to make a comment, like, and I'm talking about random people. Any random person will come up to you and be like, oh, your hair's like this, or oh, your weight is like this, or your skin is like this. Like, why is it like this? Why do people normalize that, to this extent, especially in India? Why is it so important?
Yeah.
So that's something which I probably did struggle growing up with. But I feel like after a point, you can either just sit and mope about it and keep cribbing, saying, oh, people are saying this, people are saying that. Or you can make your peace with it and be like, this is how I am, this is what you're getting. Or you can work on it to feel better about yourself and how you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like I started doing a mixture of all three. So sometimes I used to sit and feel bad about it. Sometimes I used to be like, okay, I want to change this for my own sake so that I'll feel better about myself. And I started making small changes. And sometimes I feel like I'm too hard on myself with the amount of pressure that I put on myself to want to look a certain way or please someone else. So I'm getting into that zone currently where I'm just trying to make peace with myself.
Yeah.
And also let other people just accept me for the way that I am. And if you can't, then it's a you problem. It's not a me problem.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Roma, one thing I want to ask you is, you are gorgeous, by the way. You're very pretty. And when I'm I meet you and, you are a skin doctor, I'm sure you deal with so many people coming in having insecurities, right? Sometimes it's not just the outside, but it's the inside you deal with as a doctor. And when they're like, hey, I'm so dark, or I'm so fat, or I need to do these procedures, I want to know, what is your take and how do you address that with young women today who probably it's just a confidence thing more than it's a skin thing? So how would you address that?
definitely. So one thing that I've realized is that, with some of my patients who come to me, especially young girls, like you said, right? And I'm talking about as young as 14. I'm not even talking about 18 or something. It starts at a very young age, right from when they hit puberty up until 30-year-olds. They're all just coming and be like, doctor, I want skin lightening. I want to look fairer. Oh, doctor, my acne is so bad. I want to do something about this. I'm fat. I want to do something about this. And I've had so many of them break down and cry to me and had heart-to-heart conversations with me. And that's where I want to break the chain, because I feel like somewhere when this entire industry is booming, right, it's all just about trying to change how someone looks externally to make them feel good. But what about if you can just give them some internal support as well?
Yeah.
So I always tell most of my patients, listen, dark skin is beautiful. Aim for clear skin. I understand acne can be a problem, not just because of how it looks, but also because of sometimes, it can be painful as well, right? There are so many other things related to it. There can be, so many underlying hormonal imbalances when you have acne. And that should definitely be looked at for overall health.
Yeah.
But the goal just shouldn't be, oh, my mother-in-law is telling me that I'm dark, so I need to become fair or something like that. I've had so many people come up to me and tell me this.
Yeah.
So I want to break that cycle somewhere. So I always talk to them for some time, try to instill whatever confidence I can in them. But beyond a point, I can't just change their mind also, because if I'm not going to do it for them, they're just going to go to some other
Yeah.
doctor and get it done.
Yeah.
So I try to do it as nicely as possible.
Yeah.
Sometimes I give in and I have to do the procedures for them. But yeah, there's nothing which you can do to completely change a person's
Yeah.
physical appearance also, especially when it comes to skin lightening and that
Yeah.
craze that's going on.
And that's my thing, right? Like, I'm, again, coming back to you as a person, like when I met you, you were very confident, very like, like you came across as someone who understood, very vibrant. And that was something that pulled me to you, because I'm like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, hey, hi, how are you doing? And you return back that energy. And I'm sure probably like growing up, you also had your, because I kind of feel like you are a reserved person and you do pull out a lot to give that kind of energy. So what did you do to kind of like, what were the steps you followed to become confident, to pursue this? Did you know you already wanted to be a dermatologist? How was that journey? Tell me about your background.
So not really. I knew I always wanted to be a doctor. I honestly wanted to become a gynecologist. But somewhere life brought me here and I ended up becoming a dermatologist. And I really like it. I love the field because you have work-life balance in it. So personally, as a doctor, I'm happy that I chose this field.
Yeah.
And I'm also happy that I get to give back to people in some way to like instill confidence, help them feel better. There's something that you can give back in this as well. It's not a life-saving profession as such in the medical field, but it's still something nice where you can give back to people. And for me, growing up, I feel like I wasn't always the most confident. I probably didn't care up until a certain age as to how I looked and all that. I was just very happy. But then, obviously like adolescence hits, and after that, like you get into college and people start like, making comments on you and they start like poking fun at you. And that's a big thing which happens over here, right? People are always like making fun of you based on your insecurities and how you are. So at that point, I used to be extremely fat at one point in life.
No way.
Yes, I used to weigh in at like 98 kgs at
No
one point.
way.
Yeah, so at that point, I feel like somewhere something broke in me in COVID and like during lockdown, and I just wanted to make a change. So I ended up like losing weight, but I didn't do it the right way the first time. And after that, I wanted to like just get stronger. So now I've started like strength training to get stronger. And obviously, the way I present myself overall has also changed a lot after, like changing externally. And like the thing is, sometimes I do feel more confident in my skin right now compared to before. But I also don't want to come across as someone who's extremely overconfident or someone who's unapproachable, because sometimes, people who always like look so well put together and who don't express themselves much, or who don't have that happy, outgoing vibe can seem a little bit intimidating or unapproachable. And I never wanted to be that. I just always want to be this girl whom anyone can come up to and talk about anything. So that's just something which I probably just want to keep to myself always. And I feel like you're exactly like that, which is why we both clicked like so well and instantly. So
well, that's amazing. Like, and that's something that's very important as well, right? Like what you said about that self-introspection. You did it not because someone else told you to lose weight. You did it because you wanted to. And I think that we get a lot as women, especially, whether be it our skin, our hair, our weight. I don't see a lot of men getting that. Not, I do know a lot of guys do have that as well. They're conscious about the way they look, and they want to portray the best foot forward. But I feel like societally it's more out loud, especially in India. Because living abroad, I never had ever once second guessed what I was wearing. Throw on a shirt and I'd walk out and I'd be fine with it. Now I'm like, can I wear this outside? And more so not because is it appropriate, but more so is it showing something that I tomorrow would get comments for, or gunda arke, or whatever it is that they say here, right? It's very interesting. So tell me, now as a dermatologist, if there are four things, right? Think about it. If you were to tell younger Roma, right, 14, 15-year-old Roma, what would they be?
4 things.
Yeah, and I'm picking for a particular reason. I'll tell you why.
Okay, so I would probably tell her that, to just enjoy whatever she's doing and just be in the moment, because you're not going to get these things back. And I would probably tell her that her extremely curly, unruly hair is actually really pretty. And I would tell her that it's okay if she's fat now, because she's going to lose it at some point when she feels like it. And probably tell her that it's worth going out and playing in the sun for hours together and getting that tan, because you're not going to get these memories back.
Very nice. And now I'll tell you why I said 4 things. As women, we always think in threes.
Really? Why is that so?
Apparently, there's a stat out there that says that we always have 3 things in mind, 3 things we need to get done, 3 things if we're done. So that's why I was like, give me 4. And that's why I asked you 4. I was like, let's see if you can come up with it. But I love what you said about the hair. You know why? I have curly hair. And for the longest time, it was unruly and it was apparently unkempt. And then you go abroad and people are like, oh my gosh, we love your curls. And I'm like, wait, what? You love that? Like, really? Because all my life I've heard it's bad. It's wrong looking. And it's so hard to get a haircut in India because then they're always like, it's just so thick and we don't know what to do with it. And then you go abroad and everybody's just wowing at it. I'm like, dude, why? How? And it's funny you said that about the tan because I think I complained to you about it. My hand is very different to the way my stomach looks at the moment. My hand's super tan. And I had one of my family friends basically tell me, you need to put basin and you need to sit for hours. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I asked you, should I just do skin lightening or something? And what was your response?
I will cut you. No.
She was like, absolutely not. I was like,
No.
okay, great.
Gorgeous the way you are. It's perfect. And like, there's no point, because as long as we live in Chennai, first of all, we're going to keep going out into the sun again. We're going to get tanned again. So,
Yeah.
what do you want more? Like comfort?
No, and the thing is, it's like, and I have that people walk up to me a lot and they're like, you're so fair. And I don't know how to respond to that because in my mind, I'm a lawyer. So I have like fair in judgment. Sure. Are you saying I'm fair in judgment? Yeah, yes. No, that's not what they're talking about. And it's funny because recently there's this matrimony talk that's been happening in my house. And I was given a form and I told you about it where they asked me my Rasi and all of that. So I said Nalla Rasi. They're like star and I said superstar. And they're like skin color. So I said brown. To the horrific surprise of the people who gave me the form. They're like, in which angle, ma'am, are you brown? And I'm like, because when you're abroad, the US, Canada, you have, I'm a brown person. I'm a Southeast Asian person. Apparently, no. And I'm sure you deal with that, right? Like with people coming to you. And even while like studying and stuff, like fairness and the way you look, how do you overcome it? Like, do you have 3 or 4 or like one thing that you hold on to kind of cope when you're feeling low and down about your skin, about the way you look, about your day or whatever it is?
If there's one thing that I hold on to,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just that, that I'm like, we're already on a hamster's wheel, right? We have to keep going forward no matter what. There will be shit days when you don't feel your best or when you don't look your best. But you still have to keep moving forward, because if you don't have a shit day, you're not going to have a nice day after that. How will you understand the value of what a good day is if you don't feel what a bad day is, right? Every day is just going to be good, then life's just going to be boring.
Yeah.
So you just have to keep having that mentality to like, okay, it's fine. Like, this has happened. I'm just going to pick myself up and go forward. That's it. That's really important.
That's very nice. That's a very nice way to put it, actually. Never thought of it as a hamster's wheel. Now I've got ratatouille in my mind. Thank you. Roma, one more question for you is, as someone who now is progressing in this career, you're pretty young, very young, actually, very beautiful. You guys should reach out. But we were actually talking about dating and the way relationships work. And we were talking about how sometimes as women, we give in too much or let down our guard too much. And as friends, we're very protective of each other, right? And that comes across from both of us. Like, I'm super protective of you and you're super protective of me. So in situations like that, like, how would you say a girl, when her confidence is taking a beat because of a relationship, how should she technically respond?
I feel like in a situation like that, it's not wrong to want to like love another person a lot, but at the same time, it's very important to love yourself enough. I feel like you should try to find balance over there. If you prioritize too much on the other side, right, and you just keep pouring into someone else's cup, it's not like that person is asking for it either. It's your mistake. You're doing it. So you can't just keep giving over there and bashing yourself up over it and then end up feeling like shit at the end of the day. So you should learn how much you want to give and how much you want to take. And at the end of the day, if you love yourself enough, you will gradually start feeling confident in yourself. And honestly, this is something which I've been trying to work on for a really long time. And hopefully I will do it a lot better now since I'm talking about it. But yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, I think confidence is, it's not get up and I'm confident. It's a build up, right, to it.
Yeah.
You don't just get up and, I get that a lot where people are like, oh, you're so confident. I'm like, yeah, but I have my moments as well where I'm texting someone and I'm like, I can't do this. And nowadays it's usually ChatGPT because all of my friends are in the US except for you. And, it kind of like comes to a point where it is important for you to share that. Sometimes I think as girls, we feel too shy to even say that out loud, that I'm not okay. Yeah. I'm having a bad day. I don't think we want to agree to it because nobody should find out. But it's interesting how for me at least, it's been amazing meeting you and having you as my friend because I'm able to do that. But I'm like, I'm having a horrible day right now. I hate it. And just to have someone support you back and say, you're going to get through it. And I think that comes from trusting and confidence does mean, the other word for confidence is trust, right? So trust yourself.
Yes.
One final question. In terms of, again, I'm going to go back to the whole dating thing, right? I won't ask if you're single because that's not a part of this episode. But what I wanted to ask you is, when girls start to mold, or even men, I'm going to say it for men and women, mold themselves into a particular image for another partner, right? I am of the mindset, and correct me if I'm wrong, that if you're doing it to better yourself, I'm always someone who keeps saying, do better than yesterday. If I'm like, yeah, I do want to hit the gym and lose some weight, and I'm not doing it because I want to shed calories, but want to look more toned for myself, and that's great, and my partner's supporting me in it, awesome. Same thing for the man, right? My girl wants me to be bulked up, and I'm doing it because I also want to do it, versus I'm doing it because I need to satisfy this person. I feel like it takes a toll on a person's confidence when they're doing it for someone else versus when they're doing it for themselves. What do you think?
Well, it definitely does. Like, you shouldn't like force yourself to have to change so much for another person. But at the same time, I feel like in a relationship always, there should be some form of effort and compromise from both sides. I feel like our parents' generation did a lot of that, but sometimes nowadays we are too comfortable in our skin and we want someone to just accept us completely for who we are. I feel like the word compromise itself is starting to slowly fade away somewhere into the background, which is why a lot of relationships nowadays are like struggling, in my opinion. I'm like, there's something which I just told one of my best friends recently. Like, she was complaining saying, oh, I have to put in like 80% of effort and like change myself. My husband's not even doing like 20% of it. And I was like, wait, stop. If the 80% that you're putting in is going to be good for the both of you and make you also a better person, a healthier person, change your lifestyle and your habits, it doesn't matter if he's just putting in 20%.
Yeah.
That 80% is going to benefit you so much. Why don't you think about that?
Yeah.
Stop complaining. It doesn't always have to be 50-50. It depends upon the bigger picture. If both are winning from you changing 80%, then put that 80%. For now, it's fine. Later, at some other point in life, if he has to change and put in 80%, then he will and he should. That's how it should go. So, and yeah.
That's very beautifully put. That's actually beautifully put. Roma, well, thank you so much. I think before I let you go, there's one more thing I want to ask you. Now, I know for some people, confidence, they get up, they're able to just go live their day, do what they need to do. But in your job especially, you meet multiple personalities, you meet people of different kind of age groups and genres and backgrounds and trust issues and all of that, right? How do you engage with them? Is there like a cheat code that you do? Is there a way you come across? Because one thing I've noticed in young people today is that they don't know how to have a conversation with multiple different kind of people. They used to either their school or their network or their family. When they meet someone from the outside, it's like almost like a culture shock. So how do you kind of do that?
I don't know, honestly. I feel like I've always been this person from my childhood where it's just easy for me to adapt in almost any environment, and any place. I'm someone who's very moldable that way, I would say. And I feel like it should start from a very young age, because once you just become rigid and used to one particular environment alone, you're not going to feel comfortable anywhere else. So it should start from a very young age. And now, depending upon each patient and all that I meet, yeah, sometimes you have to be very traditional with the kind of skincare you give. Obviously, you have a 60-year-old couple coming in, and you have to like be very careful with how you talk to them, because they want the old kind of medicine. They don't
Yeah.
want modern medicine. But then you see like youngsters coming through, like 20-year-olds, and they're talking about skincare, and they know everything about every single serum possible in the internet. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know what that's called. Can you show me? So it depends
Yeah.
from person to person. But I feel like the most important thing over there is to keep an open mind, no matter who you're talking to,
Yeah.
and just make sure that the other person's also comfortable enough, and make yourself also comfortable, so that the conversation
Because
will
that's
flow.
the only way we can become friends.
Exactly, like how I became friends
Yeah,
with you.
yeah,
Like you had an open mind to trust me and want to become
I
my friend,
was just
right?
shocked when I met you. I was like, are you sure you're the derm? I thought you were like the derm's assistant or something. I'm like, okay, maybe another client just got left behind. She's just occupying the room. But no, well, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And I think one of the reasons why I wanted to ask you on this podcast, first of all, was one, I know you've put in a lot of work in yourself as a person and how you've grown. And I want people who are watching this to also feel inspired to do that. Like, just because they feel like, they're a particular weight or a particular skin tone, or maybe they've had a career shift and they've had a pause in their professional life, doesn't mean they can't get back up. And the one thing that always reminds me when I see you is get back up. I don't know why, like ever since the first time I met you, that was the words in my mind, like get back up, like resilience, right? I know it's not been easy for you, and that's why I was like, I need to have you on here, because you kind of embody that get back up and get to the gym and do this. And she wakes up at 6 a.m. in the morning, guys, to like get to the gym. And she was like, yeah, okay, you didn't go today, go tomorrow. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. But not in a condescending way, but just in a supportive way to be there. And thank you so much. All right, with that, we will see you again for the next episode. Bye, guys.